And with their quiet but steely determination, they'll be hoping for a repeat performance today. Despite the name, the Blues are no wallflowers. David, Clive and the two Simons reached the semis by building a trike that ran rings round the other side, and they'll be determined to leave the competition with a dizzy feeling once again. Now, Prof, got my tape measure. I thought we would simulate a monster mutant machine.
Right.
And then if the teams want to come outside and use this as a benchmark, they can. Now, your bog standard Fiesta is about 5 foot wide, okay? So we are looking for our teams to build a Bigfoot at 9 foot wide.
Which is an extra 2 feet on each side.
There we go.
I got 24 there.
Right, so let's use these tyres.
So we have
just to show how wide it's going to be. That would bring those tyres there. Now that's one wide vehicle.
Isn't it?
Okay, not only that, but of course, when the mutant machines come out onto the test track, they've got some speed humps to deal with. Now, standard ground clearance on this feisty little Fiesta is about 6 inches. We're looking for treble that. We're looking for 18 to get over those humps. Do you think we can do it?
Oh, yes. No trouble.
Yeah?
Could be fun, could be dangerous.
9 foot. 5 foot there.
So how are the two teams measuring up? The Blues have clearly been keeping an eye on us and are adopting the scientific approach.
We've marked out where we've got to come to, and we reckon with the existing clearance that we've already got on the car, along with the clearance that this is going to give me, hopefully we should get our right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
The only problem we've got at the moment, because the front has got to be driven, and it's also got to be steered, then these are the two problem wheels. The back wheels are not so much of a problem.
Okay.
Well, we don't feel they are anyway. Yes, Lily.
I know when I'm not wanted. The Blues need Clive back, so it's time to see how the Reds are faring, and the answer appears to be piping red hot. Mark, you got a bit of a sweat on?
Yes, yeah, we have this morning, yeah.
So I see you sawing this bar off here. What are you going to use it for?
We're going to use it as part of the rear axle.
Okay.
Hopefully we can make the two big wheels we've already taken off the baler onto it. And that's the back end finish then.
Right, I mean, it's very thick, isn't it? But if you've got those huge wheels, I guess you need something that thick.
Yeah, we need someone with a bit of strength in it to hold them on.
Yeah.
Whether the welder's man enough to weld them on is a different thing. It's a bit on the lean side. But I think we can get there.
That's going to take some doing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Getting the old MIG round nose.
Yeah, I think it might overheat it a little bit, but we'll be all right.
1 hour and 100 metres of welding wire later, the two sections of salvage tubing still aren't joined together. And our man, with loads of letters after his name, Professor Martin Smith of the Technology Innovation Centre, is worried. Worried because the Reds have rolled their Fiesta on its side and stripped it bare. Prof, the Red team, where are they going?
Well, I think they've been inhaling too much petrol fumes and exhaust fumes. They seem to have lost it completely. They've taken the exhaust system off, which means the engine won't run properly. They've taken the petrol tank off, which means the engine won't run at all. They've taken the rear axle off, which means they've lost their brakes. They've taken off the wash bottle. Well, they're going to save an ounces of weight on there. I mean, they've lost it.
Why? What's all this about? Why have they taken all those bits away?
Oh, they've gone bonkers, I think. They really have lost it. Yeah.
OK, well, I mean, they've taken the rear axle off. They're making a new one. My concern is, and I'm no professor, but I would have thought making an actual axle, they've taken a rod from the hay baler and they're trying to weld that together. Now, what if that snaps?
That's an awful lot of work for very little benefit. They've already got an axle. If they'd measured the ground clearance before with the car level, measured the ground clearance with the suspension jacked up, measured the diameter of the wheels, they'd know exactly what they needed to do in order to get the ground clearance they want. They're just working sort of at random, arbitrarily. They've made no measurements and no plans at all. It's
They're
madness.
going round the houses,
It's
Prof,
madness.
without a big foot.
Absolutely.
Their apparent incompetence is totally out of character, but the Blues don't mind a jot. They've already jacked their car up to the required height, albeit temporarily, and are well on their way to working out how to connect the front steering and suspension.
OK, Prof, well, we're only a few hours into today's test, and the blue team seem to have got themselves sorted quite early on.
Well, they've taken a much more scientific and an engineering approach. They've measured the ground clearance before the car is jacked up. They measured the ground clearance with the car jacked up. They measured the track, so they know exactly what they want to do. They compared the measurements with the challenge, and they know exactly what they want to do.
Do you think they're doing the right thing?
Oh, absolutely. That's the scientific way of doing it. And it's once you've got on the right track to start, there's probably not going to be any sort of cutting and changing plans halfway through. So I think the blue team are on the road to victory, and I think the red team are on the road to ruin.
You do? You're predicting that as early on as this?
Yes.
Oh, OK.
It's not the sort of prediction the Reds are going to take lying down. Actually, let me rephrase that. They are lying down, but only to weld that rear axle into place. Will the Prof be forced to eat humble pie for lunch? Well, before we find out, let's have a look at the two designs, how they're beginning to take shape.
Right then, Prof, it's that time of the programme where we look at both teams' designs.
Right.
Let's start with the red one.
Well, this is what the red team are doing, at least with the back axle anyway. I'm not sure what they're going to do with the front axle. This is what the car looks like, basically. Here there are two rear wheels, and the two rear wheels are joined by this tube, and then there's a spring and a damper to control the amount of movement of the body. And now we need more ground clearance, and we need a wider track. So what the red team have done is they've got some giant tyres off the hay baler, and they've got some bits of tube. This is very thick tube, 8mm thick tube, and they've created their new back axle. Taken a long time, but I think it might be a good investment because it's it's very robust. That's not going to break.
Obviously, it's a very long axle,
Yes.
so they need the width.
Yes.
What about the welds in the axle?
This is the worry.
Is that a weak point?
Well, this metal is so thick that when you come to weld it to the thin bodywork, there's a danger that you're just going to break the welds off on the body. So the whole thing could come apart. I don't think the rear axle will break, but the body just may come off.
OK. Let's check out the blue team's efforts.
Right,
what
here
they
again.
plan to do.
A standard back axle.
Yep.
And what the blue team are doing is minimum changes, which I think is a good idea. So they're just taking the back axle and the wheels and the damper and the springs and the connecting tube just as it is. And they've got two more wheels off two cars, and they've welded those onto the existing wheels. Then they've welded that onto a bracket, and they've just bolted it onto the tyres. So in a way, that's the simplest minimum possible changes, and that's a good idea.
You say simplest, but it's a lot of work, because they've had to do a lot of cutting, haven't they? And a lot of welding.
It's much less work than the Reds have had to do. But the Reds have been very fast, so they've caught up. But yeah, this is the minimum. This would have been the way I would have done it. This is the minimum change.
OK. So you're in favour of the blue team?
Yeah, I was, but the Reds are catching up, so I'm beginning to change my tune.
You can't move the stakes now, Professor. Let's have a look at your idea. Clean sheet. Where's the Prof's idea?
Well, I thought that the blue team's method of having minimum changes at the back just by welding a couple of spaces on and welding wheels on is the best way of doing that. Yeah. And I thought the red team's idea of extending the track out sideways is on the right track.
OK, so the Prof's idea would be a hybrid of the red and blue team's
Absolutely.
designs. Oh, we've never had that before from the Professor.
So they've stolen my ideas.
Swing these a little tiny bit more off the thing.
It's easy to see why the Reds are catching up and confounding the Prof's original prediction. It's because the Blues are having to manufacture rims for their tractor tyres, a time-consuming job. And then there's the small matter of how to join them to the double rims. And so, at the halfway point, it's not just the cars that are hanging in the balance. It's also the right to join Ming's merciless mob for a place in the final.
Time for us to take a quick break, but you stay right there on your sofa because we'll be back in a few moments' time with plenty more bending and welding as our two teams head for a semi-final showdown. Can the Blues' almighty Bigfoot clear the humps and cross that bridge to victory? You'll find out soon. Welcome back to Mutant Machines. Our two teams, Clematis Quattro and the Dodgy Geezers, are well on their way to producing, the most monstrous mutation you've ever seen, Bigfoot style. Well, by the looks of the red team's efforts so far, it's definitely going to be these guys who are making the biggest and the wildest tracks.
That the dodgy geezers now look as if they're in the lead is a complete turnaround. Only a few hours ago, you'll remember our resident expert, Professor Martin Smith, was convinced the Reds had lost the plot and were on the road to ruin.
Hey, Professor, red team are getting it together, you noticed?
Aren't they just? They've come on from being way behind the Blues to being, in my view, I think they're ahead now. They were deliberately, I think, trying to mislead the blue team into thinking that they were way behind and blue team needn't bother. And they threw me off the scent too with all this casual throwing bits away. And then all of a sudden they got a really good back axle and the front axle looks like a good design too.
Who's your money on now?
Well, my money is now on the red team. I think they're going to beat the blue team with a comfortable margin.
You're eating humble pie, are you?
Oh, me? An academic being humble? Never. No way.
Humble pie, because the Reds are already reconnecting the hydraulic pipes they cut to extend the wheelbase, while the Blues have got that sinking feeling. And Professor Hindsight reckons he knows why.
Here's a wheel and a tyre, which we've cut in half. And if we look at the cross-section of it, there's the tyre and there's the wheel. As soon as you take the wheel out here by 2 feet, you've effectively got a giant lever which is trying to break off this axle here and trying to crush these bearings.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's very
and causes
very
problems.
Risky. Yes, yeah. I mean, that leverage is, you know, like the early laws of physics. You can sort of lift anything if you've got a lever long enough. You can produce any large force if you've got a long enough lever.
Okay.
Now, this shows, I think, what's happening. You've got this huge tyre, this huge great lever here, are all applying the force on this tiny little stub axle there. So there's a huge danger with the blue team that either the wheel bearings are going to crush or the stub axle is going to break.
Which do you think will happen?
I wouldn't mind betting that that stub axle is going to break.
If the Prof's earlier tips are anything to go by, that means the Blues should romp home. So, who's your money on? We're about to find out.
OK, lads, I'll make that 8 hours. You've had your chips. It's time up. Get the decks cleared, wash your paws and get ready for this showdown. Are you ready? In 3, 2, 1. Down tools.
Bang on cue. The Reds' Bigfoot emerges through the Mutant Machine's factory doors, but the Blues are nowhere to be seen. Their Bigfoot is so big they can't even get it out of the workshop. And though they don't know it yet, this won't be the last of their problems.
OK, guys, here we are in the Mutant Machine's test area. Now, you've been here before, so no worries, OK? It's time to walk the plank. Follow me. OK, each team will have to take their Mutant Machine over these planks with tyres on the planks. If the wheels come off, then tough luck, will be adding points. OK, follow me. You'll then find an obstacle. But there's not any 1 point here which is above 18 inches, OK? So if you followed the Mutant Machine's rules, you should clear it no problem. You'll then come round this corner, back to the plank to start another lap, and you'll do exactly the same again. When you finish your second lap, you need to park your Mutant Machine right here in the middle of the bridge. The winners, of course, will be the team who can manoeuvre their beast, their Bigfoot beast, around this course in the quickest possible time. You got it? Gentlemen, it's time for every engines. OK, driver, keep your eye on the lights. It's time to turbo boost the Bigfoot into action. In 3, 2, 1, go!
Superb display. You must be chuffed a bit.
We are, yeah. Not much suspension, but
You know,
round.
your back tyre's a little bit flat,
Yeah.
but I mean, it just didn't make any difference.
No,
at
no,
all,
it
did
seemed to be okay.
It handled beautifully.
Yeah.
You cleared the obstacles, no problem.
That's it.
No penalty points incurred.
Good.
Well done.
Thanks
we'll get
very
you
much.
time.
Prof, what time do you have on that?
1 minute, 24 seconds.
1 minute 24.
That's it.
Okay.
One to beat.
Blues are up next.
Thank you.
Can they beat 124?
David, this is not good.
We've sent out for some fuel.
You rang the AA. This is not clever. Right, David, anyway, you're in the hot seat. How are you feeling?
I think we could do it.
You think so?
I think we can.
You still think you got the better design? You're not giving me much confidence. And you're not saying it with confidence.
No, we're going to do it. We're going to beat them. That was quite a poor time by the Reds. So, once we get some petrol in, I think, we'll give it a go and I think we'll beat them.
You reckon you can beat 1 minute 24?
We'll probably do it in a minute.
That is the biggest jerry can I've ever seen. You carry that around in the back of your car?
You got the top for it.
Okay, this is an absolute disaster for the blue team. They've got a tyre and a hay bale stuck underneath the front of the car. Not only that, but apparently the clutch has gone as well. The red team have tried to nudge them on, but it's just not happening.
Oh, we've blown it.
Oh dear.
That's all right. The fact that it's still in gear at the moment.
Well, I've got to say.
Decision.
Sorry, Dave. I mean, fact is that we don't have to look at the scoreboard to find out who won and lost that one, do we? But
No.
commiserations to the Blues. What do you mean it was close? It wasn't even a competition. What you got to say for yourself, Davey? Come on, you were at the wheel. You must be gutted.
I am, yes. I thought we could do it, but it was that bit of fluff in the bearing.
Clive, you've put your heart and soul into this project today, haven't you?
Yeah, we've enjoyed it, and it's been a lovely day. It's a shame it wasn't meant to be, but let's hope these lads go on and win the final. I mean, what they produced is a lovely machine that's done the job. I think they went round in, what was it, about 1.5 minutes?
Yeah, a bit less than that.
Yeah, well, we probably need 1.5 years to get round it.
Simon, you've come a long way, haven't you, through the Mutant Machine series? You've got some memorable moments.
Yeah, we've had some good days, and today's been a good day as well. It's just a shame, that it didn't quite stand up to the job in hand, but...
What's actually happened here at the end? I mean, have we got complete meltdown?
Well, the clutch has decided to disintegrate. We've grounded the thing onto the floor, and I think the engine's just blown up as well. So, no, it will still work. Yeah.
The ever hopeful blue team, aren't they? Oh, well done, lads. You did a grand job, but lost out there right at the end. Which brings me on to the dodgy geezers. Well, there's nothing dodgy about you lot, I've got to say. So, well done, guys. First of all, come on, you were there at the wheel. How was it?
Very good.
Victory under your foot.
Yeah, that's it. Very good. No suspension, a bit bouncy. But we got round. I didn't think we'd get through that, but it did. So I was well.
You flew over the obstacle there. Well done. Yeah. And.
Yeah, had a good laugh. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, you get cracking that champagne.
Yeah, I think we'll do that. Yeah.
Mark, what's your memorable moments from today?
I think we built a good machine, but it was just a shame the other team just had a few mechanical problems really. And been better to run the 2 motors together.
Yeah.
And made a good competition. But we've had a good day.
Excellent. Well, that's what we like to hear. And one last word from your good self, Kev.
I've really enjoyed it. It's been a good day.
Did you feel confident all day long that you built a strong
yeah,
machine?
Felt confident as soon as we got here. So.
OK. Well, of course, that means our dodgy geezers go through to the grand final, which, of course, will take place next week. And they'll be against none other, the Ming's Merciless Mob. And take it from me, that will be one hell of a programme. Go on then, lads, make that champagne fly, give each other a big round of applause. Don't forget to join us next week on Mutant Machines. See you then!
And the Freak Show continues at the same time next week with the Mutant Machines final. Next up, from beasts to beauties, Auto Mondial is in just a sec.
JR Inkjet. At only a few quid a refill, you'd be bonkers not to.
Has your car insurance gone up this year? Yeah, I bet it has. With elephant.co.uk, you could save loads.